TEDsters, fantastic. Thanks for having me this afternoon. We've got one more to go. I want to talk about the connected human, you lot, but not just from your perspective, how brands communicate to you in a digital world. So let's do this. The question I get from most people across the planet is, are we all clear? The answer is clearly not. We're not clear because we don't quite know that there's confusion. And when I was at the Venice Biennale this year, this is what everybody walked around the streets with. This is the bag everybody had, and I love this because it describes we have all these amplifiers, we still don't know who the hell we are. And what's really interesting for me is this, my friends. I grew up in the world of the TLAs, a three-letter acronym, like this, FYI, like this. By the way, that's cover your ass. I don't know if you know that one. And then you guys are using this sort of rubbish, and then this, and then this thing. You're using four-letter acronyms to tell people to piss off because too long didn't read is now the new verb. So what I think is interesting is it's about consumers consuming content. And here it goes. When we think about it, it's all about links versus publications. Where we want to be met today is wherever we are as a tribe. And a little bit like this. If you get it right, especially if brands get it right, they don't compete with advertising. Content competes with popular culture. It's about those little bits of gratification. You guys have been enjoying this all day, these bits of gratification, because there are 8 billion people on the planet almost. 50% of them are under the age of 30. They're your lot. That means they've never known life without the internet. Now, what's fascinating for me, it means that creativity has to be redefined. And it means that it also has to be about the way that things used to be programmed. We look at stuff like evergreen. When you're going to launch things for brands you represent in the future, you look at evergreen content and think, what can I do with this? Well, that evergreen content will then go to seasonal content. Evergreen is stuff that always never dates. Seasonal is what can I do to impact people when they want to be met? Easter, Christmas, Hanukkah, Halloween. And then you've got one-offs. How do I program for things that I know are coming, but I don't know how to experience them, like the Queen's Jubilee birthday as an example. But brands are actually wanting to own breaking news. Here's some examples of when the Prince was born. This is Air New Zealand. This is their announcement of the day the Prince was born. Travel by stalk or so last year. What do you think, good or bad? Kind of cute. What about this thing? Coca-Cola, to share this program. Oh, bless. How about Starbucks? Kind of cute. And then we got Charmin toilet paper. They've just discovered Photoshop. Feels a little 86 for me. Then you've got Orioles. Orioles are always about owning breaking news, bless their hearts. But I think Play-Doh sort of won it for me, really. And then this happened. We're at the Grammys, right? We all know that Pharrell was wearing a hat. Does anybody know why he wore this hat? Malcolm McLaren, Buffalo Gals. I'm the only guy who knows that in the room, right? But then a brand like Arby said, hey, dude, can we have our hat back? So a brand jumped onto popular culture to say, I want that hat back, dude, it's mine. And then Pepsi jumped on it and said, yeah, dude, what about his hat? So I think this is interesting that brands are starting to own breaking news, but instead of being a curator of content, they're curators of conversations. And here's where it gets interesting for me. There's this thing I'm calling the brand attention curve. There's lots of commentary before an event. When there's a massive event that we're all watching, we get really excited about it, and then poof, we slide off a cliff. And it's like a one-night stand, man. We never hear from them again. It's rubbish. So it's going to be very different moving forward, because it's the only place brands and consumers can own breaking news is digital. Doesn't happen in TV, not radio, not the newspaper. It all happens only in digital. So, because you live, communicate, get information, and get entertainment fundamentally differently today, ideas are coming at you big, new, fast. So how are we going to control this? These are things that I used to talk about across the planet. I'm very comfortable talking about all these things. I sat back and thought, oh, I can find a company that does every single one of these things today. So the future is not in the future, it is actually now, including this thing.
To climb at more than 5 meters a second. And it can cruise at over 100 kilometers per hour.
The Marlin transport system is available today. I would have loved to come up from New York on that bloody thing. But if you're wondering about my accent, that's the country I'm from. I'm Australian. I'm from the bush in Oz. That's the small town I'm from. That's the house I was raised in. That's my family. I'm actually one of 10 kids in a 2-bedroom house. There's a whole lot of therapy there we can go into another time. But what was interesting is this. It wasn't until I was 17 when I bought my first car that I felt freedom, independence, and self-expression. I was also the first planker on the planet too, by the way. But what's interesting was when I put the CD in the front car and I tail down the highway, that was really the time that I felt things were incredible for me. But today, kids are born connected. There's a switch that's come on. They find it very difficult to switch off because we know we're just one click away from our most inner personal thoughts, meaning personal expression is the new form of entertainment. And it's interesting, when we think about it, how you're going to make the path from a brand perspective is about transparency. We're in a world of transparency today already, but you have to fundamentally understand that context matters. So let me give you an example. People make decisions, us humans, emotionally. It doesn't matter whether it's a $5 bottle of water or cup of coffee or a $50,000 car. We make these decisions emotionally, justify them rationally. So this is New York City, 6:30 in the morning in the summertime. Anybody know what that line's for? It's not for Samsung. It's not for iPhone. It's for this bloody thing, Cronut. It's people are lining up for a croissant meat donut at 6:30 in the morning. By 8:30 when they open, they sell out by 9. You can only buy 2 of them. So we're idiots. Because what we're thinking here is that we're influenced by our peers. People's behaviors are influenced by their peers. Let me give you an example. The number of brands we will talk about, human to human or digitally to human, per year is small. It's 5 to 9. So you have 5 to 9 opportunities for somebody to brag about your brand. It's really fascinating when we think about this because fragmentation is getting wider, meaning we need to meet people where they want to be met, and there's more and more of these places to be found. More of them. And so what's fascinating for me is that I grew up in the information age. It very quickly became the age of social, and this really tells me Greg Olson's painting is really the state of social right now. And we have a long way to go, man. When we get to the pearly gates, we're going to explain ourselves away, that's for damn sure. Because here's what's interesting. It's still this land grab for likes. People just want like. It's not a popularity contest anymore. I think it's rubbish. I think what we need is a currency of verbs, different types of verbs like share, want, purchase, desire. Things that actually give us an action, because now you can like my shoes, my belt, my pants, my jacket. You don't have to like me as a whole. And I think there's something that we need to reset there. Okay, so this is not so cool. This is something social that I thought was quite rubbish because I was able to check into my KLM flights by checking out somebody's Facebook and LinkedIn profile. In the real world, that's called stalking. And then you've got this thing. This is the country of Sweden. They're saying, we're so proud of our brand that we'll allow you to have the keys to the official Twitter account and you can actually be the voice of the country. That's actually genius in my mind. However, I would argue that the world is completely overwhelming. We are hit with 1,900 media messages per day. And 250 of those, by the way, are ads. And then we're underwhelmed because we can't find what we're looking for. Discovery's gone from this delightful experience. And that FOMO, that fear of missing out, is real because one of the highest contributors to stress today is media overload. So good luck with that, you little buggers. But what's interesting is this. I actually also believe we have too many friends, we have too many followers, we're following too many people, and defriend and unfollow will be a trend. Now, why I think this is important is that in the social stock take of the long-form popularity contest, especially for brands, will be a reality. That you want to have a dialogue with those real brands because it's about presence. It's the calm in the storm. And presence for me is really important because that's the currency that we care about as digital marketers, that you're going to care about as brand ambassadors. Because here's the deal, man. In 2005, when the Pope was sworn in, this was it. 2013, this is it. So it looks a bit like this for me. Behaviors have changed. We've been in the game of entertainment and information for centuries. But the new is this thing called brand utility. Well, can you be useful to somebody's day-to-day behaviors? Because as you touch your screen about 120 times per day, you want to talk about that on this thing, which is the first screen. Don't call it the second or third screen. Don't let people call it that either. Nobody walked in here with a TV. It's this bloody thing we have in our pockets. So this is why it's called the first screen. Now, 70% of people will actually try a mobile experience once. So it's all about surprise and delight. That's why you're being delighted by that. And a vast majority of people in the mobile experience are power users. So we love it when people meet us on the mobile properly. And it also allows us to create advocacy versus awareness. Awareness is just one-way amplified marketing. Advocacy is I give a stuff about this brand, I want to talk about it. Really interesting. And brands also bridge authentically. So this is a thing by Band-Aid. So what they did is they did a limited edition physical Band-Aid you put on a kid's owie. You swipe your smartphone or tablet over it, and suddenly the characters come to life on the actual screen. So it's a real utility for a physical product. Here's one by Toyota. This is something that allows kids to be a backseat driver because they want to. They want to pretend to be like their parents driving. So Toyota built this app that allows kids to drive the same contours of the road that the parents are, but puts in the kids' language of cartoon. That's being brand useful, by the way. And when it comes to anything to do with mobile experiences, it's all about simplicity. It's the ultimate sophistication. That's what Da Vinci taught us centuries ago. I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous quote we should think about. But brands are trying to be an experience like this.
TGV! Yeah! Oh my god! Oh! Is that right? Oh my god!
The microphone. No, I've got the rubber duck. You've got the rubber duck.
Oh my gosh!
Can I get in?
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Should we do some pictures?
Oh, somebody laughed. If you didn't tear up, you're a hardened bastard as far as I'm concerned. It's interesting, right? That's actually about blatant advertising. Every single second has a blatant Adidas logo in that 4 or 5 minute sequence with Beckham, who doesn't work for free, by the way. But there's something about subtlety as well, perhaps like this.
Good. Wait. Good boy. Here. Good. Wait.
Turn on the ignition. Let's go. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy.
Ride with me
Good boy.
on the streets right now.
So what we're doing here, we're looking at the art of storytelling done in a way that's authentic. And this is not brand-led, this is not TV commercials, this is just great storytelling without the brand in the center. The brand happens to be a company that wants to make sure dogs aren't killed, and they came up with this genius idea, and you guys don't care what I'm saying, you just want to watch a damn video. That's how contagious this stuff is. It's amazing. But here's the deal, man. It's all about stories. Stories at the heart of what people's human conditions are. And when we have this new technology like this stuff, which gives you see-through data, but if I wear all my actual wearables today, I feel like a tribal leader because it's all about 2 wrists and 1 face. When you go to capture these new experiences, when it comes to these new types of technologies, it's going to be different. And that difference, however, and even this sort of thing, this is a wearable that actually takes it off the wrist and the face and puts it into the jeans. This is called Social Denim by Replay Jeans. It has a dongle in the pocket. I press it to geolocate where I am, and it tells people my mood because it has a biometric in it. So these are the new that you guys are going to be using to capture the delights of what you're doing, brought to you by brands. But here's the deal, man. You are the renegades today. You're the Charlie Chapmans of our generations. You're the freedom thinkers. You are the ones who are the extroverts and the revolutionaries because you have the tools to do it. These technologies are enabling you to be this free. And here's what I'm thinking I'm interested by. I'm not watching the Social Olympics. I'm watching the Selfie Olympics. And some of you guys are probably even contributing to this. The creative experiences that are happening in bathrooms across the planet where people are contributing to the Selfie Olympics, it's crazy. So this is interesting. This is rubbish. We've got people who are actually taking advantage of people in society. So I'd rather it be good, not for evil. And here's what's interesting, more importantly, is as it moves forward, social is ubiquity for you. It's just going to be like water and electricity. It's not about that places to go. It's about things you do. And also, creatively, it's all about storytelling again. But here's the deal. I'm an artist. Red, blue, yellow are the 3 primary colors that make up every single painting on the universe. That's what we start off with. When you go to dream digitally in this new world of marketing in a digital world, it's all about content, technology, distribution. And here's the deal, man. So if I have to think about this, my advice to you is this. Imagination is more important than knowledge is done by this lad. And you know who he is. And now, but not only did he do that, he gave us this, as you know, the quantum theory. But did you know that he's actually a classically trained violinist? So I would say to you, exercise both sides of your brain and constantly do that because as you make the path your path, be empowered. And also, please be inspired and stay curious. And most importantly for me is desire the things you want to do and put actions to that. So put your action to where your passions are. And also, this is the best quote for me that I carry closely, which is, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. Katharine Hepburn, bang, had it right for me. Because at the end of the day, we're in a world like this today. This is the cover of the New Yorker magazine about 12 months ago. This is the state of human behavior today, is this thing. And by the way, there's a term. So if you and I were actually having interaction today, and we're halfway through a discussion, and you pull out a phone like this, if I'm on the receiving end of that, it's a term called pizzled, because I'm crossed between pissed off and puzzled, which I think is fascinating. So please, 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 as you move forward, as much as you're the connected generation, which we are in here today, please become the connection generation, because it's about making sure we're using these digital experiences for much better human connections moving forward. Thanks very much indeed, people.